Hey, this is Matt with Let's Talk Music. I'm here with Robbie from Dancing on Tables. He's joining us from Scotland today. How are we doing?
Yeah, very good. Sunny Scotland today, which makes a nice change. I've
Yeah.
been outside for most of it. It's been nice. We don't get to do that very often here.
Oh, okay. So what part of Scotland are you in?
Yeah, I'm in Edinburgh.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, which is nice. It's hectic living right in the centre, but it's good. It's got a lot to do anyway.
Right. So let's talk about the new song, man. How do I get back to her? I I dug it. It's very catchy, very just well put together, melodic. It was good. So I mean, tell me your version of it. Well, the writing and everything behind it.
Yeah, thank you very much. We it was one of these songs that we wrote basically when lockdown hit. We were just really hitting our stride, and we just supported like Catfish and the Bottlemen at the two biggest arenas in Scotland, and just about to hit a 14-date tour, sold out a bunch of them, and then we just kind of got shut down. So we were like, right, we can either sit and wallow in our pity or we can do something about it. So Callum and I were literally writing every single day together. So there's sadly for the album, a lot of the kind of process of how we wrote the song is exactly the same. We sat like, oh, what do you want to talk about? And we'd sit and we'd make a coffee and we'd be on Zoom and we'd start chatting about stuff and what we've been watching, what we've been reading and things, and then there'd be a little theme and it's like, all right, yeah, that sounds good. Let's pick that. Let's go for that. Um, so how do I get back to her? Like we spoke about this. We've got all the original notes, all the original voice memos, but can't actually click on what we've been reading or watching or speaking to people about to get the original idea. But it's a song all about somebody basically who is that realization that you've split up, you've gone your separate ways, you thought you're okay, and then somewhere down the line it clicks that actually no, like I didn't realize how good I had it, and it's that fight to try and get back, and that kind of fight with your mind between should I, shouldn't I, and yeah, the classic kind of
Right, right. Yeah.
love story.
Yeah, I mean, you can get that from the song, but I wanted to get your take on it, what your writing process was. So your new album is Color in the Gray.
Yeah,
And
that's out end of October 14th. It comes out. Which is a collection of songs that we wrote over lockdown, songs that we wrote at this time now, like 3 or 4 years ago. All brand new songs that we haven't released, but together, I think they kind of making the album, it made us really focused and thought, right, we just done EPs up until now, and we thought, what do we actually want Dancing Tables to sound like, and who do we want to be? And we had to sit in the recording process and actually think, right, what tracks are we putting on? What's going to be like our identity? So it's a collection of songs that for the first time actually kind of fit together for us, and we've not been experimenting and dotting about. It's like, right, this is what Dancing Tables actually means.
okay. And so this one's an LP or is it an EP?
LP. We've got 13 tracks and all coming out.
Okay. And this is your first LP?
Yeah, debut. So we've been waiting a while to put it out, but it's yeah, we're really happy with it. It's going to be worth the wait.
Yeah, yeah, I bet. And I mean, it's got to be pretty exciting too, just the first full length album. That's always a milestone in a band's,
Yeah, absolutely. It's that kind of yeah, as you say, it's a milestone. That's you have aims and you have dreams when you start out trying to make it in music, and getting that debut album is definitely one of them. So yeah, we're super excited, and we've started to kind of play them live a little bit, and we're at a festival at the weekend there, and just getting to have this new music that we're so excited and passionate about, and to finally be able to get it out there in the world. Yeah, it's a really exciting process.
heck yeah. So, I mean, you got some good reviews from some magazines. I mean, Flood Magazine said bouncy indie pop. Wonderland said full of infectious indie jams with mesmerizing melodies. And who can resist a Scottish accent, eh? So, I mean, that's great, man. It's like you guys are really, you know, getting out there. You're getting getting yourselves heard. You're getting your, good reviews. I mean, I'm here, in the US interviewing you. I mean, because, like I said, I thought it was a very catchy song and I love catchy songs.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got many bands here that, that's their thing, catchy songs. And I mean, it is, just I like I said, I could catch the message behind the song, but it's always nice to ask the person who wrote it and the person who played it, like, what was your thought process behind it? Because sometimes, you'll read into a song, you say, oh, this is what it's about, and then you talk to the person like, no, that's not what it's all about at all. And I'm like, oh, okay, so,
It's funny actually because originally when like you listen to it now and it's that kind of like we always when it comes to writing music sometimes we'll sit and try and work out really technical transitions and it'll be like a really like artistic song, but when we're writing this it is essentially if trying to make it in music you want people to you want it to be catchy, you want people to listen to your song and then be singing it as they're walking down the
right,
street. So, we always try to aim for that. But with this one, originally it was a kind of like somber, almost, it was a slow, kind of chilled song, and it was like all about the lyrics that we were singing. And then it was when we finally got back together into the practice room, and it didn't feel right as a band playing it like that. So like, right, let's like double the tempo. Let's make this like a proper foot stomper, like sing along anthem. So we bumped it right up. And we were
right,
like, that feels good. And that's the thing as well. Sometimes, like, because it's the theme about it is getting back, but it's almost kind of talking about well, like there's positive and negative aspects in what we're discussing about in the song. So like the lyrics can take a kind of somberness if you read them, and then the music can do all the positive and jumping and singing.
gotcha.
Sorry, this is talking about living in the city centre. There's just sirens all the time. I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
right.
sorry.
I hear him here too because we got our road that we live off of is like a main road for it just yeah, they're down through there all the time. So getting ready to support the album here and it looks like August, October, November, and December. So you know it looks like you're going to yeah quite a few nice venues out that way. For you got one in Edinburgh there, Sneaky Pete's. How's that place?
Yeah, so that's a kind of like it's an institution of Edinburgh. It's one of those places that like everybody knows, everybody has kind of played coming up in Scotland at some point. It's that a nice kind of like small sweaty room, and but we haven't played it in so many years. And with this kind of being our hometown, we thought before the album comes out, we'll do a nice kind of album preview show in one of these like independent venues that we probably won't get the chance to play very often.
Right.
Um, but again, until you play it right at the start as it goes through, but we absolutely love it. And it's just, yeah, it's a complete institution of Edinburgh. Is I can't think of any other word for it. So it's going to be really nice to be back there after it must be at least 3-4 years, I think. So yeah, it'll be really nice. It's a really fun place to play. And we're going on. I think there's maybe 10 or 11 different dates as kind of throughout the album promo tour over here, and then we're dying to get back out. I think we're going to head back out to the States before the end of the year. But that's yet to be announced. That's in the works at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so if you guys haven't played in you said 3 years, I assume there's some excitement and some nervousness.
Yeah, I mean it's just that venue that we haven't played in 3 years, but we also haven't played in Edinburgh. Well, I mean lockdown kind of confuses years for me, but at least two. So it's nice to be back. It's nice to be back. So yeah, it'll be great having kind of familiar faces and friends and family in the crowd, which makes it a different feel of show compared to when you're on the road and it's all people you don't know, kind of looking out and seeing faces that you recognize. And
Right.
that makes it more nervous for me. I'd rather have a room full of people that I've never met before.
Oh,
So
I
you're,
bet.
yeah, if it's like your brother and your cousin are standing there, that oh no, if something goes wrong, I'm going to be mocked for the rest of my life. Never.
Right. So, speaking of being out on the road, like, what is one of your coolest experiences when you've been out on the road? Just like something that, when you think of, hey, we're getting ready to hit the road, it pops out in your mind, like, man, I remember when this happened.
We there was a brilliant night when we were heading over to Nashville, and that's kind of we've got a bit of a base there, so we headed over and we are going to do some writing, and then going to kind of do a show for some of our friends since we were there, and we're flying over, and it was Hamish, the guitarist's 21st birthday. It was the only flights that we could get, and we flew over, and then our transfer or our connection was in New York, and our flight got cancelled the next day. So we're like, right, mate, it's your 21st. Like, we're gonna go out in New York. So it's the only experience I've ever had in New York. Well, any of us actually, but we had like 9 hours there before our next flight. So we went out and managed to celebrate his birthday there. So whenever like we're flying, it's like, oh, I really hope there's no delays. And like, yeah, but the one time we did have proper delays, it was like the best night ever.
Awesome.
Just
So, how about your worst experience out on the road?
we've stayed in some truly terrible places. Basically the way that it's maybe changed a little bit now, but certainly the way that we used to book accommodation when we were on tour was going to like Airbnb or booking.com or something, just
Hmm.
search area and then low to high and then just go for low because we were on such a tight budget. And
Right.
we stayed in this one place and it said breakfast was provided. It was like an Airbnb, and we got in and breakfast was a loaf of moldy bread and a pint of milk, and there was no heating. And yeah, we all slept fully clothed. Four of us were top and tailing in the one bed because the other bed had marks on it that we didn't want to consider what they could have been. So the,
Right.
the person who booked it for us still gets reminded of that whenever we talk about going on the road.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds pretty creepy, but I mean, it is what it is. That's like you said, especially when you're trying to keep within a budget. You're not always getting the Ritz. So,
No, it's yeah, you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
yeah. So, are you guys under a label or are you independent?
Oh, so we're signed to NC Records, who are based out in LA. So this is we did a kind of re-release EP thing with them towards the end of last year, and then this is our first first full new music release with them. So they're a great team. They're ran by a guy called Pat Magnarella. He was Green Day's manager for forever, and he still does loads of stuff. So he basically heard a demo that we were about to release ourselves, and so, that a friend of a friend sent it to him, and he was like, "Oh my god, I love this!" So it's on the album as well. That was like 3 years ago almost, I think. But yeah, we've got a great team in America, and they've been really supportive. So we've kind of, for a Scottish band, we've maybe gone the wrong direction of focusing everything over in the States first and hoping home will catch up. But it's been really good and it's worked really well for us so far.
Yeah, I think European music is it's a big thing over here. I mean, you've got a lot of like not too long ago I just did a band with CF98. They're from Poland. And then, I done a band from India. I always it's for me, I like to talk to people from wherever. You know, what I mean, as long as if we're talking about music, I'm good with talking, to people from wherever. And I mean, it's like, I mean, you got like Def Leppard right now. They're over here doing a stadium tour with Motley Crue, Poison, and Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, and
Wow.
they're killing it. They're selling it out everywhere.
Yeah,
So people, I think when it comes to music, it doesn't matter, race, religion, where you're from. People just love music.
absolutely. It's the one. It's an artist that I went to see. This guy Frank Turner, and he said he was on stage, and he always kind of he chats a lot, but he said he loves music, and it always stuck with me that it's the one thing that you in the world you have so many different problems and people with different point of view, and then you go to a gig and you leave all your bullshit at the door, and then you're all there for one common purpose, and it's the one place I think in the world where everybody comes together no matter what. So
Yeah.
yeah, music's great.
Yes, it is. So in your press release, they've got you listed as an alternative pop rock, and then of course in the magazine it says indie pop. Which one do you guys consider yourselves?
Yeah, I think this was part of the issue, or well, part of the process that we went through in recording the album and choosing which tracks, because we have kind of between us, we've got such varied interests, I think, and such varied influences growing up. And I'd grow up listening to like The Clash and like Sex Pistols and things like that. And Callum was always who like we write all the songs together, and he's like massive Beatles and like Simon and Garfunkel and
Hmm.
like so between us we've got very different um like we listen to incredibly different music casually, and then so when it comes together we've got different influences and we kind of bounce off each other, and then when you take it to the band and they've all got their own different influences, like Hamish the guitarist who does like it's one of my favorite moments on the album, the solo and How Do I Get Back to Her that he does.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, there's another couple of songs when we let him rip, but like those are my favorite moments, and he listens to like Led Zepp and Def Leppard and stuff like that. He's well into like anything with loads of guitars. So between us, when we combine, it's sometimes a bit more in one part, sometimes a bit more in the other. But the way, and it doesn't really answer your question, but the way I like to describe our music is it's like songs that you would hear in the radio, and but it's got guitars and guitar solos in it, if you know what I mean. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like kind of rock pop,
Okay.
which wasn't even on the press release at all, but that's how I'd maybe say.
Right, right. I mean, the the guitar work was pretty cool. I mean, you're kind of just like, bobbing your head to this song, like, yeah, and you're grooving, and then the guitar solo comes in, and you're like, whoa, didn't expect that. So, but I mean, I think a lot of things with like quite a few bands that I've been interviewing lately are kind of going back to like an 80s, 90s roots as far as rock. So that's incorporating, big guitar solos and, stuff like that. And I mean, that's the stuff that I grew up on, and you said, the Clash. I mean, I remember the first time I ever heard Rock the Casbah, I was like, holy cow, love these guys. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's a broad spectrum and I think that where you guys are at with your music is great. I mean, it's a it's very, like I said, very catchy, and I think that people are really going to dig that. I'm looking forward to hearing some more songs off the album.
yeah. It's I think with the album as well is there are lots of there are songs that lean into that kind of guitar rock side more, and then there's other songs that well, there's it, it's a kind of bit of a journey of an album. Um,
Right.
there's a bit for everyone, is what we'd kind of say.
Yeah, I see it's showing 10 tracks here on the press release. How do I get back to her being the first track? So which one's going to be next? Do you know that you're going to release?
Yeah, we're releasing So What in September.
Okay.
So we're actually recording the music video for that tomorrow.
Oh, that's what she's talking about. Okay.
Yeah, so that's a bit more of a kind of anthemic, um, a bit kind of darker, a bit rockier, and so we're kind of hoping for a nice rainy grey day for filming it, and it is bright blue skies. So that's what the last minute changes have all been trying to talk about.
Right. So, speaking of So What, I mean, I'm sure that you've probably heard Queen's song So What,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then or not Queen, but Metallica did that song So What. Queen, what was the one?
Sorry.
What was the one that Queen did? Oh, go to hell. Stone Cold Crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm.
yeah.
You
That's
know, thing about me is I'm fantastic with lyrics, terrible with song titles because I never check. I'll just listen to an album or I'll listen to bands, and I could sing you the words, but I couldn't tell you what it's actually called.
yeah, that's what I was having to play that in my head because I'm like, wait a minute, Queen didn't do So What, but Metallica actually did Stone Cold Crazy too. So that was pretty cool. I mean, as far as like, I mean, you got to think when you got a legendary band like Queen, and then you got Metallica, what they say is the biggest metal band in the world, and they're doing each other's songs. I think that's got to be pretty good feeling for both artists. So.
Definitely, definitely.
But yeah, man, I just I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I enjoyed the song. I was, actually listening to it again this morning before our interview, just kind of, refreshing myself. And it's very catchy, very just like it's almost like it gives you that happy feeling. You know what I mean? Because I mean, there's different. You can listen to music. It's like you can listen to music for any mood that you're in. If you're depressed, you can listen to a song that's gonna, cheer you up. If you're, just broke up with a girl, I mean, or whatever your relationship is, you got, I mean, there's so many breakup songs,
Yeah,
so and that's what's great about it is that you can always just there's always something for every feeling you have. It's like, you know,
yeah.
just great.
I, I think with our album, we've kind of tried to do a bit of that as well. There's songs about, there's happy songs, there's sad songs, there's songs about nothing really. There's we've got one song which is just about how we're all terrified of growing up. Essentially, there's we've done a bit of everything.
Right. Are you able to elaborate on the song So What at all, or
Yeah. So what? That's a slightly kind of more emotional song, maybe the kind of theme, and that's one that we actually wrote before all of lockdown and everything, and we we wrote it when we were out in Nashville actually with a couple of friends of ours, and it was just this song which we always loved, and then kind of essentially forgot about, and then it was very last minute. It was literally actually the day before we were about to go in and record the album. A friend of ours was like, "Oh, I can't believe you're not recording. So what?" And we were all like together getting ready, and we're like, "Let's just give that a run through. We'll go for that." And we thought actually that was really good. So yeah, changed last minute, put it in, and then when we got the first mix back for the album, we're like, right, that is like up there with our favorites.
right?
So it's basically a song. It's a similar vein to How Do I Get Back to Her, but it's kind of that like it kind of follows the same story in that it's a kind of acceptance of that you actually do, you do want the person back, and it kind of follows on in a way from what we're talking about in How Do I Get Back to Her, but it leans instead of the kind of celebration of realizing that actually you're okay, but you might want to get back to her at some point. Like how do I? It musically it kind of delves down into that anthemic rock kind of. It's almost like you're kind of screaming and shouting about going through the process of breaking up or maybe getting back together. So yeah, it's a bit of a flip of the coin to a very similar story.
And I mean, that's something that, I'm sure every person on the planet can relate to.
Yeah, it's the one thing, music and breakups.
Yeah, yeah. So,
If you
all
liked
right,
one, hate
Robbie.
the other.
Well, I appreciate your time, man.
No, thank
Definitely
you.
looking forward to some new music. You guys just you keep doing what you're doing, man. I mean, I'm loving it, and I'm gonna get this up on YouTube and share the interview, and post your video link for it and your your socials and whatever, so that I can try to get you out to my audience, and maybe they can get you out even further. So
Yeah, well, no, thank you so much for having me, and yeah, hopefully it's not too long before we can make it to Ohio.
yeah, man, that'd be great. I'd love to do a live one. That's live interviews are always great. I mean, it's Zooms are okay because it's a way to connect, but nothing's like a live, especially after the band is played. You can just be like, man, I loved your show,
Yeah,
and it's you're everybody's still, I think, kind of hyped up. So the interview, I think, is much better than when you're pre-show, because pre-show you're kind of like, okay, focused on what's going to be going on stage and stuff. So yeah,
yeah,
I definitely look forward to it, man. If you guys make it out this way, I'll hit up your publicist at Earshot Media, and we'll set something up.
sick, brilliant. Well, yeah, as I say, hopefully not too long, and thanks for taking the time to have a chat as well.
Hey, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Have a
Uh,
good one.
You too. Bye.